Hi all! Today we're going to talk about art school. I have gotten questions about art school a lot. I know people have a really hard time making the decision of whether or not to go. I am going to be purely talking about my own experiences with some little anecdotes about friends that I went to school with and how they felt about certain aspects of school. I'm going to talk about how I felt about art school overall, whether or not I'd go again if I were to go back in time and make that decision. As part of this, I have a portfolio with I don't know what's in it from school. I haven't opened it since I graduated in 2021. Actually, I don't think I've opened it since like 2020 because I think it's all work from I could be wrong, but we're gonna go through that. It's just gonna be fun because I'm really curious what's in there. Probably a lot of like studies and sketches and stuff, but we'll see. But yeah, that's what this video is gonna be. Let's pull this portfolio out of my drawing rack. Oh my god, it's heavy. Ooh. And look at that, it is so dusty and covered in cat hair. All right. Oh, it's so weird to be opening this up. Oh my god. Okay, this is a lot of stuff. Let's get into this. Okay, so I moved us. I wanted to give a little preface about what my art school experience was like just before we go through all of this stuff that I'm very excited to go through. I was very privileged to not have student loans. I feel like that's really important to say off the bat. I know that the school I went to Lesley University. I obviously didn't have to deal with the financial department very much. I have heard many horror stories of people trying to deal with their student loans or just like payments or whatever. I had friends who had a lot of issues with the financial department. A large part of why I felt comfortable going to art school and knowing that I might not have like a really good job right off the bat was because of the fact that I didn't have to pay student loans. So yeah, I think that's important to know. But my very basic art school journey was I started school in, I believe, 2017. I took a gap year. I graduated high school in 2016. I took a gap year and then I started school the next year. So school for me started off with obviously all of the basic courses. I was majoring in fine art. So that was a lot of like everything. We had to take painting classes, color theory classes, drawing classes, sculpture, mixed media, like a bunch of different stuff. So my first couple years were mostly that. I believe my second year, start taking painting courses, and that's when I got really into oil painting. I skipped one of the foundational painting courses and went straight to a figure painting class with the permission of my favorite professor, Amy Sudarsky. Just kind of got really into oil painting from there. In my junior year, halfway through, we had just gotten our studios, like, I don't know, maybe like a couple weeks before something, spring break. We all know what happened spring break. Hit, and the rest of my schooling was virtual. So that meant that basically most of my classes were like Zoom lectures, or we had guest visiting artists via Zoom and stuff like that. Most of my senior year was mostly just me working on my own time, basically making my own schedule. It's not like I had like a painting class where like we were forced to paint during the time period that the class was. It was kind of just like we met for 15-20 minutes at the beginning of class and then we were off to do whatever. I would usually not paint during that time. So it was very like kind of self-led a little bit in that way and like a time management way. I definitely think that also impacted my relationship with school. For me, I think that COVID was actually, it allowed me to start doing work that was a little bit more vulnerable because I was home alone. You know, I could paint studies of myself without like a professor looking over my shoulder at my reference photo. So that allowed me to kind of make stuff that was a little bit scarier to make in a classroom environment, if that makes sense. So I kind of think in that way, COVID for me led to me making more vulnerable work faster. But yeah, and I also want to say that like my mental health, I was, after graduating high school, taking a year off, my mental health was like really rough. I left a household that was not healthy for me. It took me a long time to recover from that. I'm still recovering from that. But what that meant was that my gap year was kind of just me working full time at a grocery store, kind of just making money and getting by and taking a break from school was my intention with that. And then starting school, I just was very much so not accepting the fact that the household I grew up in was not healthy. Basically, the first couple of years, I did not do great in school. I think I did okay in my like actual art making classes, like my painting classes and stuff. Obviously, I mean, I ended up like skipping a class, and like my professors in those classes really liked me. It was more so in the classes that required a little bit more discipline because they were like a little bit more boring. Art history classes and stuff like that, I had a really hard time with. Something kind of switched right before my junior year. It was like the summer of my sophomore year. I took a summer class. I can't remember what it was, but it was like some not art related at all. I just remember really connecting with the teacher and kind of just realizing that like I was capable of being a good student. I just needed to sort out my priorities and get my timing straight and just kind of discipline myself a little bit more. I was slowly starting to kind of heal from the environment that I grew up in. I was in therapy, you know, I was doing the work as best as I could. Then my junior year onwards, I think I did pretty well in school. I ended up winning an award at the end of school. I believe it was like the Senior Excellence in Fine Arts Award or something. It was the award for that, for the fine arts department for my class, my graduating class. Yeah, I think that's proof that I recovered a little bit, and even though I didn't do great in school, I ended up doing okay in the end. So all of this work, I'm fairly certain, is from pre-COVID. I think at the end of school, I might have kind of like shoved some other stuff in there. I also think that most of this stuff, looking at it, is from my drawing classes. I don't think there are any paintings in here, except for the one on top, but that one's not mine. Yeah, I'm gonna pull stuff out. I'll show it to you. We can see maybe how I grew. I think most of this stuff is from my sophomore year, maybe the beginning of my junior year. I guess we'll find out. It's probably gonna be messy too because I think most of this is charcoal, but okay, so for what's in the top, this is actually interesting because this was made by my grandmother. I didn't know that I had put that in there. I've actually been looking for it for a while. I must have put it in there to keep it safe, but according to my father, this is a painting of, I believe, him and one of his brothers. Yeah, this is really nice to have, and I'm definitely gonna find a home for this, so I'm glad we pulled this out. Also, just think it's funny, like a lot of the people in my family are creative on both sides of my family, I would say, so runs in the family, I guess. Oh, this is a painting I made for, I believe it was like the first painting I made for my figure painting class. This is a nice board. So I also got really into letterpress at one point. So I took, I think, 3 letterpress classes. I was not into printmaking in the slightest. I had to take one other printmaking course, which was a lithography course, and I hated it. The professor was amazing. My classmates were great, but I don't know, I just don't like printmaking. I'm not a huge fan of drawing, and that's a lot of what it was. And then also just like, I don't know, ink is so messy and sticky, and there's so much cleanup, and like, it was just too much for me, and I wasn't satisfied enough with the final products. I didn't stick with it. But letterpress was something I was a little bit more interested in because the cleanup was a little bit more like straightforward to me, and also there was just something really satisfying about, if you've ever seen like the letterpress, like the presses, they're just fun to use. So yeah, so I ended up taking, I think I took an intro to letterpress course, and then I took a regular, like maybe 2 advanced classes, I think. I can't remember, but I remember I loved the teacher, Sarah, I'm sorry, I can't remember her name, Sarah something. She was wonderful. She's an amazing artist. I loved those classes, but this is all my scraps from one of the projects I did for that class, which is stained somehow. Who knows what's on this? I made like a book. You cannot tell from these scraps because they are scraps for a reason. I carved out like silhouettes of different body types, and then the words over top were, I think it was, how much space do I deserve to occupy? That was when I was kind of starting to ideate this like body image related work. I was still very much so at that point in my life looking at like body positive kind of artwork, and so honestly this was probably one of the first projects where I was really acknowledging how I actually felt about my body and the tumultuous feelings around having a bigger body. But I remember really liking that project, but also being so frustrated because I am so bad at math. I swear to God, that part of my brain just like doesn't work. I struggled really hard with that part of it, and I remember needing a lot of help from friends and from the professor. But this was a painting I made for fun. My husband, I think, when I was in high school. This is from my lithography. This was a sketch I was doing for my lithography class. I was really into plants. So many plants in my apartment. I have a cat now that absolutely loves to eat everything. Here's where we're at the drawing course stuff. I might have to actually hang some of these up because I really like these. Okay, so here's one of them. Again with the plants. I remember my teacher, I do not remember her name. She was also a printmaker, so she taught a drawing class and she also taught printmaking classes. She had a bunch of plants in the printmaking department and she brought them down for us to draw. And I remember loving that because I was a plant girly at the time. There's probably going to be a lot of plants in here. Oh, I forgot about this. This was also for my letterpress class. I remember we like made a group book. What the Fork is for Dinner is what we called it. People like made these pages and we all got to take one home. I don't remember which one was mine. I kind of feel like maybe it was the soup spoon. Okay, here are some figure studies. These are big. These are on nice paper too. These are interesting. They're not like clearly the best or anything. They're also, you can see the back is covered in other drawing mediums. Yeah, I remember like a large part of my experience with art school was issues with comparison. I know now I have OCD. Part of my OCD is very much so I discredit myself, I overthink things, and I was constantly thinking that I wasn't as good as other people in school. So like I think part of the reason I thrived during COVID was because I wasn't in a room filled with other students walking around the room and seeing what they were doing and thinking, oh, like they're drawing this model so much better than I am, and then, you know, being upset about it. I think about figure drawing and I think about those live figure drawing and painting classes, and it's just kind of, it's sad for me to think about how much I beat myself down. It would really, really upset me, and I really thought like, oh, I'm never gonna be a good artist. I'm never gonna be as good as these people. If I can give you one suggestion for art school, it would be to not compare yourself, and I know that is like such a difficult thing to do, and I also think that some comparison is healthy, but in general, constant comparison and constant beating yourself down because other people are better than you. There are always going to be people who are better than you. There's always going to be people who are worse than you. And that's just like how the world works. And it's okay to be where you are and just be where you are and continue improving from that state. I wish I could tell myself that. Go back in time. Here's another one. Almost like a paint. Like it must have been ink, I'm assuming. This looks like charcoal. Oh, this is so cute. Look, it's my boy. I drew my dog. That's really cute. What is this? I love this one. Ooh. I think I posted a picture of just the butt to my Instagram because I remember really liking the colors in that area. Look at that. Yeah, I like that one better than I've liked some of the other ones we've looked at. Okay, I distinctly remember hating doing this. She brought in, this was from the same like drawing class as the plants. She brought in like tools, like rusty old tools, if I'm remembering correctly. I just remember hating drawing them. I don't love to like just sit and draw, like that's not my favorite. And I am so much so someone who is drawn to drawing and painting figures. I'm just like, I don't know, something clicks in my brain when I'm drawing a person or painting a person. I'm just not into still lives and stuff very much, so like I just remember it was really wonky and I was getting really frustrated with it, and I had like a really hard time with starting stuff over, like accepting that stuff wasn't good and that I needed to start over. That was really hard for me. Ooh, the angle is like, this one's kind of fun. Oh my god, I remember making these because these are my plants because again, I was a plant girly. These were like the first ever drawings I did for that drawing class. So this one's like stippling. 9/11/2018. I can't believe how long ago that was. Ooh, a bunch of blank paper. Maybe this will get me into drawing again. Okay, there's something fun hiding under here. Oh, this was my actual lithograph. This is cool. So I don't know why these are in here, but look at all of these Lisa Frank stickers. I've been like collecting stickers more recently. My friend makes these like amazing drawings covered in stickers. They're really, really cool, but I will tag them. Yeah, I've been collecting stickers more inspired by them. And I did that piece, I am the same girl I was. I know the titles to my own paintings, but I did that largely inspired by their work. Obviously a very cool find, and it looks like the vast majority of the stickers are still in here. I actually, right next to me, have my prints from them because I have yet to hang them up because I need to get frames. Oh, this is rough. Not sure what's happening here. One thing that I will give art school like major credit for is I learned so much. And I know that like when you start art school, a lot of people just like absolutely hate it because you're doing all of this stuff that you don't want to do. No one wants to sit there and draw a plant over and over and over and over again in different mediums and different, you know, at different angles. Like no one wants to do that. It's not fun. You want to make the art that like feels fulfilling and stuff like that, like immediately. But the thing is that when you sit down and you learn those basics over and over and over again, even if there's stuff that you don't end up using in the long run, like I don't use charcoal anymore. I don't draw like this anymore. Learning those foundations, it set me up so that I have this skill set, and now I get to go out and choose which parts of that skill set that I want to apply to my work, and that is just like so beyond valuable. I truly think that foundational learning set me up for a lot of success in the long run. So I know that a lot of people say they go to art school and it's just like soul sucking for them, and I think that is completely valid. If you're not someone who thrives in that kind of environment, that's you, and that's great. And I think there are so many other ways to learn other than going to school. For me, I just think I really thrived under the watchful eye of my professors, the grading and all of that stuff. Like forced practice over and over and over again just really made me a better artist personally, which is why I want to go and get my master's at some point again too, because I think that I could definitely benefit from more learning. I think I need more learning. I think if I want to be the artist I want to be, I need to go learn more stuff, because there was a lot of stuff I think I missed out on by kind of pulling me out of school. There's a lot of techniques that I don't know how to do. I never learned them, I think because it was too difficult to teach them over Zoom, and also like everyone was dealing with mental health stuff at that time. I think that drawings like that, where it's like it's so clearly it's not great, it's proof that things get better when you practice over and over and over again, because like some of the other drawings were pretty good, and also like the stuff I do now doesn't look like that. Oh, I remember liking this one too. Obviously, this is a little bit off. There's something about charcoal drawings. They're just like, I don't know, they're so like artsy looking. They're very satisfying. Oh, I remember hating this. Oh, this looks ridiculous. His eyes are so little. This is when we were working with pastels. I like that year. Oh, here we go. Here's another painting. I loved figure painting. Oh, another one. I love it. It's just so fun looking at art from like baby artist to me. Just remembering those bits of school where I made something that I was really, really proud of, because most of the time I was comparing myself to other people and I was not making stuff I was proud of because I thought everything was bad, because I thought everyone was better than me. I didn't like pastels very much. I love the colors, but it's not the worst. I like his shirt. His shirt looks good. There's so much cat hair. The self-portrait part of it, but I am in the mirror. I loved this one. Every once in a while I would do a figure drawing where it was just like something clicked and I was like, ooh, I like this. You know, like I feel proud of this one. I used to have a lot of trouble with like proportions and stuff. When I would do a drawing and the proportions would be off and I just like couldn't get it to look right, I remember I'd get really, really frustrated and just like want to give up and just get overwhelmed. And, you know, and I think that was probably partially my OCD. Like if stuff wasn't perfect, all of a sudden I wasn't a good person or something. But hey, this is the last one and it's not good. Oh, it's not the worst. What is happening? Well, we're ending on a strong note and I am so covered in charcoal right now. So overall, if I were to go back in time and make the decision again if I wanted to go to art school or not, I definitely would. My cat. I think that my experience with art school is so specific to the kind of work that I do, the faculty that was at my school, the school that I went to. It depends on where you go, it depends on who you are, and it depends on what your goals are. It depends on how much privilege you hold, for sure, in regards to, are you going to be financially comfortable after school? If I had to work a lot more during school in order to afford to live, I do not think my schooling experience would have been anything like it was. I think that it would have been a much larger struggle. I think I would have done a lot worse in school, and I definitely believe that being able to work only part-time, it was a huge privilege, and I think that that altered my experience a lot. To summarize, I think that the decision to go to art school is something that is so intrinsically personal to you and your experiences, your financial stability, your preference and how you like to be taught how to do things, because there are other like you can watch YouTube videos, like there are so many ways to learn. And do I think that it was more valuable to learn work in person? Yes. Having someone who is standing over your shoulder and telling you exactly what to do with your art, like the piece you're working on specifically, and giving you exact recommendations and like is helping you with technique and stuff like that. I think that that was vital to my learning But I also think that that's me, you know? Like, it depends on you. It depends on how you learn. I hope this was helpful. I hope it helped at least a little bit in deciding whether or not you want to go to school, or at least giving you some things to think about in regards to making that decision. As a reward for watching this video and getting to the end, I want to give you a little peek at something new that I'm working on. So we're gonna go. My cat. The peek at what I'm working on is this. So I started with this little study here. It is me obviously holding a photo of me from middle school, so little baby me, which is fun. So in this study you can see this like yellow and white striped background that is inspired by the print of my childhood blanket. Thinking about doing another painting that is me holding like my childhood stuffed animal too, because I still have him. He's over there. So I'm gonna do a studio tour at some point. I'm kind of still getting stuff a little bit figured out in here. I've been in here for like year and a half, 2 years set up. I still have some work to do in regards to decorating and kind of organizing myself. So I want to wait until that's done before I show you guys around, because I have the stuff I need to do it. I just need to do it. But yeah, so thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful. Please, if you want to subscribe and all of those things, please feel free to do so. Like and comment and blah, blah, blah. If you want to support my work, it would mean a lot to me. But yeah, thank you.